If I was 80 years old on my deathbed, and I look back, what would I want to look back at? I want to look back at a life where I've lived a ton of experiences, crazy experiences, and just have these beautiful memories and be able to smile at that.
When I was 26 years old, I traveled the world. But it wasn't always this way. So I sat down with a buddy of mine to talk things over.
So where are you from?
From Sacramento, California.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was your upbringing? How was growing up in life? And
I think I was a very lucky individual. My parents, they came from Mexico at a young age. They kind of worked the low jobs. My grandparents worked in the fields, doing the dirty work, farm work, clearing the weeds from the fields all day, mostly every day. But yet they just continued. And then they had kids, which were my uncles and aunts, including my mom. And so they're the ones that actually started to go to school here in the United States and get higher educations and better themselves, to the point where my parents went to college. That put them with better jobs. From there, I think me and my brother were born. We were born into this nice, stable cushion of middle class, which I'm pretty lucky, because a lot of immigrant families don't have the opportunity to go into the middle class.
yeah. And what did you do in? Because I know that you went to college, right? What did you do in college?
What did I study?
Yeah. What did you study?
So I pursued engineering, biological systems engineering. A lot of my fueling and my energy from that was because I wanted to prove to myself that I could achieve a difficult degree. You know, I pushed through, and with discipline and determination, I managed to get my degree.
And with that, I'm assuming that your family was really proud of you, because it's one of those things. It's really a big thing to complete college, even within our culture too.
Yeah, they were proud of me, and yeah, I did it. I conquered it. I was mainly proud of myself too, because it was difficult.
What did you feel like on the inside that you really wanted to achieve? Like see the world?
So my interest with travel actually started with my mom. So my mom, when she was my age, she went out to travel to Europe with her community college class.
Really?
And I remember when I was a kid, like 3 to 5 years old, I would look through her album and I'd be like, oh wow, she went to Paris, or oh wow, she was in Rome. And I remember I would tell myself, hey, when I'm that age, I'm gonna travel, because it just seems so cool, so out of this world, so different, to be in a different country and experience the different cultures. So I think from that age, from 4 to 5 years old, it planted a seed to make me want to do it later on in life.
Really?
And I think it was just a matter of time before I just went. I wanted to share something. All throughout college, it was difficult for me because I didn't have money, right? I didn't have a job. I was just studying, and I would see a lot of friends or a lot of cousins that weren't going to school traveling. They would earn money, and then they would use that money to travel. And so from there on, I started kind of building this jealousy feeling. It wasn't right, but it was like a jealousy feeling of, man, they're doing it, but I'm not. I'm here stuck studying my butt off, and it sucks. And I want to be out there, and I want to go, and I just want to see it. But then that kind of fueled me into thinking, all right, you know what? When I graduate from this university and get a job, I'm gonna save up so much. I'm just gonna full send it. I'm just gonna go. 35 countries, 129 cities, 15 months. Scariest part though?
What?
The scariest part, what was it? It's actually just taking the first step. Trust fall, and you just gotta kind of let yourself go and do it. The rest is easy. You meet so many other people doing the same thing. Yeah, we have a lot of these fears that it's a dangerous world out there, but honestly.
Now let's look at what was some of the highlights of your trip.
When I climbed up Mount Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro.
This is the tallest mountain in Africa. It was such a rewarding experience because that was my first time at high altitude. But it's a high altitude and the low oxygen.
Really?
Yeah, to the point where, dude, you start like getting huge headaches and feeling like a zombie. Like you just kind of pushing yourself one foot after the other. You can't even think straight. It was so damn cold. It was so damn windy. Like your fingers, your face was just, it felt like you were getting cut by like the wind and how cold it was. So all you want to do is like take your picture and get out of there. On the way down, that's when like, wow, that was just amazing. Like seeing the sunrise over all the clouds, the orange tangy sunrise coming up through the horizon above these clouds, and you're so high. Now that is magical. That is magical. So you're just like trying to enjoy the moment on your way back down.
What were the lows of your trip? What were the hardest parts of your trip?
Okay, here, let me. The hardest part of this trip was just being away from loved ones and being away from friends and your community for such a long time. Like I started to feel like really lonely, and lost, lonely and lost, because at the same time I took this trip, I had quit my engineering job, right? Like I had taken time off, and I wanted to pursue YouTube full time, like be a travel. It sounds so cliche, but be like a travel influencer.
Yeah.
Start making money through videos, and it wasn't happening. So it got to the point where I was self-doubting myself. And when you don't have that support group behind you, especially like your parents or your close friends to talk you through your lows, and to encourage you when you're feeling low, it gets pretty tough. Like you have to really then dig deep in yourself and trust that you're on the right path and you're doing it well, and just keep going.
And with that self-doubt, what was some of the things that you would do whenever you were feeling down while you're on these trips? Like what do you like? How do you keep on like motivating yourself to keep going up?
I think it's a lot of self-talk. I tend to, whenever I'm going through a tough moment, whether it is like running 5 miles or climbing up a mountain, like I kind of talk to myself. I'm like, come on, man, like you can do it. One more. Yeah, you got it. Let's go. Come on. And like this self-talk actually helps me a lot. So kind of like a cheat code was call back home. Give a call back to parents back home or to a friend back home, and that would kind of like boost my mood. What else? I mean, it's nothing special, but just take breaks. Like it's okay to actually slow down for a bit and just do nothing all day. Just like take a day for yourself.
Over there on those trips?
Yeah, like
really?
Take a day. Like for example, here and back home, I would never take a day to myself and do nothing. Like that's like a waste of my day. But when you're like exposed to so many smells, so many different sights, so many different people, environments are changing, like it's okay. Like all this burns you out to a certain point where your brain kind of needs time to process.
Yeah.
And you just need to, it's so draining. Like it's draining on your mental energy and on your physical energy. So you just need a day to just do nothing. Like if that means going on YouTube and watching YouTube videos like all day, by all means. Or watching a movie and just shutting down.
Well, let me ask the question right now. So I know that you said that you had struggles on this trip in terms of like your finances and stuff. Cause can you talk a little more about that? What you mean by that? You had some struggles?
So like I was about 40% done with my trip, but I spent like 60% of my budget. You have like half of the world to go and you're with 15 grand. Like, am I gonna have enough money to like get through this trip? So the way I did it, again, problem solving. Like you just look at your end goal, you're like, okay, this is where I wanna go. These are the things left to do on my trip or that I want to do. I just like sat down and I planned it out. Like as boring as it sounds, like it's planning. I was like, okay, I want to go to Indonesia. I want to go to Australia. want to go to China, Japan. Like,
And the thing is too, I know that well, obviously you did backpacking, so I think that was like one of the big benefits of it, right?
yes, and a lot of another misconception that a lot of people that don't travel is, man, travel is so expensive. How do you do it? Well, first of all, accommodations. Like a lot of us are accustomed to, when we go out to a different city, we stay in a hotel. Like we stay in a hotel that costs $100, $150 a night. But when you're backpacking, you're staying in hostels. Like you're staying in shared rooms with 5 or 6 other guys, and you're sharing a living space, and it comes out to be $10 a night. And then like the food, right? The street food in other countries is really, really cheap. It's like when you're in Thailand, when you're in India, when you're in Indonesia, you're spending about $3 to $2 per meal. I mean, it's not a big meal. With two small meals, you're good, you're set. And transportation, I didn't take taxis everywhere. Like I just took public transportation, like trains, buses. If anything, I took moto taxis. So these are like, you don't see them here, but you hop on the back of a motorbike, and the guy just takes you wherever you want to go. And it's like the best experience ever. Like that's a true way to travel, because you get to see your whole environment 360, but it's so cheap. It's like, I don't know, 50, in Egypt I was spending like 50 cents, $1 for like a 20-minute ride.
Man, that never happened over here.
Like this is the pro tip: Google Maps.
Google Maps.
Google Maps. Like it takes you, except China.
Oh, okay.
It takes you everywhere.
On a trip like this, you have to be flexible no matter what, right?
Dude, that sucks, man. When I was in India, dude, I took a 20-hour train ride in the lowest class Indian train you could think of.
Oh,
so this is
gosh.
like, oh my god. And this was a night train, so you're supposed to sleep on the train. Hell no, dude. You do not do any sleeping on that train.
Looking left or right, making sure.
Making sure, like, I was worried for my stuff. Nothing bad happened. Nothing usually bad happens. But you still have to always keep in mind your stuff.
Yeah,
Nobody takes your
keep it
stuff.
close.
In that ride, like, I had to be really flexible and open-minded. I remember in that ride, I got to see like the true local Indians, like the true local way people live. And so I would say 80% of the people around the world, they don't live luxurious lifestyles like we do here. Like here, this is a luxury. We have our own space. Over there in India and other parts, people just share spaces, share things, share food, share stories. They're always together.
Like in terms of, because I know that you talked about like that you saw like a lot of people like in struggling situations.
Yeah.
And what was kind of like your feelings of like being there, kind of like the tourist and seeing all that stuff too?
It was a lot of like heartbreak, I think. Heartbreak. I remember walking through the streets of Egypt. Yeah. And just like seeing a homeless man on the side of the street, like literally picking up fries from the floor, getting a napkin and like cleaning the dirt off each individual fry to put on a sandwich. And I was just like, damn, like that sucks. That sucks. People going through trash to get something to eat. Living conditions as well, like the apartments and this, they're just so run down, paint chipping off the walls. Probably no air conditioning, just very dirty. Like then I realized, holy crap, like I have it good. Like it doesn't matter how, when, and where I'm at, but like I always have a place to go back home, and I'll know I have a bed and some food to eat, and I'll have family to support me.
Yeah. Like how have you changed?
How have I changed? So I feel the same but different. More mature. I felt like I've lived like 5 different lives in just 1 year, because you're just constantly exposing yourself to different experiences every single day. Growing up, I always thought I was always chasing the other side. The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yes.
Like I was never satisfied with where I'm at. in my point in life. I was always like looking to hang out with the cooler people, or chasing the prettiest girls, or being in other countries, because I thought in those areas outside of my zone were the better things, that they had it better than I was always comparing myself. But after having seen a good perspective of the world, I come to realize, nah, dude, like there is no other life that's better than yours. And the only life that is better than yours is the one that you create. Like, it sounds so cheesy, but you water your own grass and it will turn green. There's just so many people out there, like you're just like a little tiny piece of sand on the beach. That means now it's up to you to put in the work and make the best with your surrounding, like bunch of sand, and I don't know, grow that to make a sandcastle.
Yeah, build it out.
Build it up.
I wanted to ask you that too, like from all this traveling now, do you feel like that you've fulfilled a lot of things that you wanted to?
Yes, I've fulfilled a lot of things that I wanted to, but this is not an end. Like a lot of people might have thought, oh, like you finished your trip around the world and you had all this freedom and now you're gonna go back to reality. Nah, like this is only like a starting point, because what doing this trip does is that it breaks down life to the core, right? And what is the core of life? Well, of course you gotta sleep, you gotta eat, you gotta find a way to make money.
Yeah.
But at the core of life, it's like nobody really cares about what you're doing. As long as you're not hurting anyone or doing any malicious activity, nobody really cares about what you do with your life. I don't know if you want to, be a clown, or if you want to be a stripper. I don't know if you want to be a stripper in Las Vegas.
What are you trying to say, huh? What are you trying to do?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And a lot of times us people, like we hold ourselves to it. These invisible kind of ropes around us that are tying us back. But like honestly, nobody cares. Like if you're different than the norm, it's okay.
It's always you against yourself at the end of the day. No matter what we're doing at the end of in our life, right?
Yeah, you do you, boo.
You do you, boo.
You do you, boo. That's...
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things is like what do you want to leave behind in this world? When have you ever thought about that, or thought that far in ahead?
No, not what I left behind, but what I do. I always think about, okay, what am I gonna do in this life? If I was 80 years old on my deathbed, and I look back, what would I want to look back at? Like, I want to look back at a life where I've lived a ton of experiences, crazy experiences, and just have these beautiful memories and be able to smile at that.
Hope that you fall in love and it hurts so
bad. If I was in a job all day, or scared to take risks, or scared to, ask this girl that I really liked out, and I never did, and I regretted that, I would feel bad about myself then and there when I was 80 years old on that deathbed. But if I just took the shot, even if I failed and I got that experience, I would be satisfied. It's so cliche, and I kind of want to slap myself in the face because everyone says it, and that when I was before this trip, I was like, nah, it's not true. But what I want to say is the beauty is in the struggle. The biggest problems that you're facing right now are the best memories you're going to make. When I was in that train ride, 20-hour train ride from India, it sucked, dude. It freaking sucked, man. But at the same time, I look back at it, I'm just like, that was a good time.
Say hello, say hello, say hello. It keeps on coming on this way.
When I was climbing up 6,100 meters up in the Himalayas, man, it sucked. It was cold. My freaking fingers were freezing. Every meter I went up, I was out of breath. But then I look back and I'm just like, wow, I want to go back now. I think the best part of my trip, honestly, I mean, you guys seen a lot on social media, like the places I was, the waterfalls, the volcanoes, the blue water, the pyramids. But honestly, the best part I met was like the people that I met on the trip. And even though at this point in life I feel like not exactly sure where I'm going, I feel confident with myself, not knowing where I'm gonna end up.
I did